this big tip-off interview, we talked to a decorated South African basketball player, a winner of 4 national club championships, a BNL winner in 2023, a winner of the 2017 CBL in Nigeria, a winner of the 2015 LMB in El Salvador, played for South Africa in the 2017 AfroBasket, played in the FIBA Africa Champions Club qualifiers in 2017 for Ferroviario da Beira of Mozambique, played for Costa Caribe in the 2016 Central American League for clubs, played for Universidade Concepcion in the 2024 and 2021 Basketball Champions League Americas, played in 4 Road to Bals and 3 DALs, and he will be playing in his 4th on Friday, March 27th. Pieter Prinsloo, how are you doing? Welcome to the VTO.
Thank you for having me today, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm doing good.
You've built a long resume of success and playing in elite basketball competition. Yeah, when you first picked up a basketball in the United States, did you ever imagine that the sport could do such things for you?
I don't think at that point I realized how much I would actually do with it, how much of the world I would see and just the opportunities and privileges I get from it. Wouldn't have thought about it when I first started playing at 13. It's the first time I picked up a basketball when I got to the States about a year after. And then I didn't really start taking it serious until I was about 16. At the end of my 10th grade year, I met who's a guy who's my mentor. He played in Spain in ACB for the majority of his career. A guy that scored over 2,000 points in his Division I career at St. Joe's during the time when Jameer Nelson was there, Terrell Myers. So he transformed me. I went from being a just tall kid that played basketball at the end of 10th grade. I had D3 and D2 interest. And from the time of finishing 10th grade to when I started 12th grade, it was a complete shift. I dropped about 20 kilos in weight and went from being just a player that's out there that's getting mildly recruited by D2s and D3s to having a galore of D1 offers from mid-majors. The Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, where I actually ended up going to Marist. I had half that conference, and a couple bigger schools that actually wanted me to go to prep school for a year for another year of development. There was a bunch of schools at that point, the CAA, schools like James Madison and Drexel, also schools in the Atlantic 10, St. Joe, St. Bonnie's, that all wanted me to do prep school for a year because they said I needed more development. And it's true when I look back at it. But I ended up going directly, to a D1 and did my 4 years. I wouldn't have thought I'd come and do as much, but knowing when I finally started committing to it, when I started taking it very serious, I think at that point it clicked that I could. At the end of 10th grade, also, my dad kind of asked me, what am I going to do? Because I was a 2-sport athlete at that point, playing American football still. And I had Division I interest as a football player. But for football, they wanted me to pick up about another 15, 20 kilos of mass to be bigger. And for basketball, they wanted me to lose 20, 25 kilos to be lean. And so my dad kind of put it to me, how many 6'10" to 7-foot guys are playing pro basketball? I'm like, there's a lot. And then, outside of the NFL, there isn't much. If you don't make the NFL, there isn't really much. That's it. So with basketball, there's the NBA, but then at that point, there was the D-League, and there's so many countries overseas.
Yeah.
You don't see 6'10", 7-footers playing professional football, and I think that was the swap that, it kind of hit me. My dad made sense. But yeah, I wouldn't have thought I'd do as much, but I always had the drive.
Yeah.
I started late, and my mentor even told me when I was still, coming out of university, he's like, you're not going to peak until you're about 27.
Yeah.
You started late. And at 27, when I was in Spain, is when that switch happened, when the game slowed down. I started in lower leagues. 2017 AfroBasket did me very well because I was under the top 20 scorers. Yeah. And, I had a good AfroBasket performance, especially against a team like Senegal that had Gorgui Dieng, Hamadi Ndiaye, Mohamed Faye, and all of them. That was a big turning point, that AfroBasket, because right after that I went to Spain. Then I went to Chile, and with the performance that I put on in Chile, it opened up the Champions League Americas for 2021. And then everything kind of just exploded. But yeah, earlier on it was rough. I started at a lower level my first year at 2015 when I went overseas. This is year 12 now. But I just kept grinding and working my way up. eventually, I think once I first got over the water, I realized that, okay, after my first season, if I just do my job, I'll get to the places where I want to be. You know, it's the NBA is one goal. There's only, 400 something players in the NBA, but you can make a nice career out of it and actually set yourself up.
All right. And can you just talk about your experience at Marist? This is an NCAA Division One school, and how you experienced that process playing in school against schools in your conference.
So yeah, obviously, we look at it last night. Siena almost beat Duke, and I played them twice a year in my 4 years at Marist. It's good. It's mid-major conference that really, kind of opened my. I was good, but I was very raw and undeveloped when I first got there. So I got thrown into the fire my first year, and I wasn't ready, and I kind of got moved down to the bench. And then each year, just kind of working back. Never was the star player when I played at Marist. Usually, either starting but fourth, fifth option, or first big off the bench, playing anything from 15 to 20 minutes a game. So at that point, it was an experience for me to see that, okay, the talent level is that much. In high school, you could do certain things, but now everybody can do this here. There's not a weak point. It was tough, but I think it very much helped me prepare because I had to grind to get the Division I scholarship, and then once I got there, I realized there's a lot more work to do. But playing at a mid-major school like that, our out-of-conference schedules was always tough. My first year as a freshman, we opened up at Villanova. My second year, we opened up at Kentucky, the national championship team they had with Anthony Davis and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and all them. I think my fourth year we played Maryland. My third year we played USF. We played Vanderbilt. We played West Virginia. We played Clemson. So our out-of-conference schedule was always hectic, and I think a lot of times I was that Kentucky team. Most of them got drafted, but you see what NBA level talent is, and then you realize I can play with these guys. They're good, but we still put our shorts on the same way, we put our shoes on the same way, and I think that experience at Marist just made me realize that I can do it if I want to. Because there was always the people that doubted me. There's people in high school that doubted me, like, oh, well, he's not going to go D1. And then when I went D1, it's like, okay, well, he's not going to play. And then when you get playing time, okay, well, he's not going to do anything afterwards. And eventually you just get to a point where that satisfaction of making it happen.
And was that the only thing that drove you, that doubters or silencing the voices of doubt, or did anything else drive you to want to excel in the game?
So when it comes to basketball, I hate losing more than I like winning. Losing hurts more than that enjoyment of winning. Now, granted, obviously winning a championship, I've got won my first contract overseas, got a championship, and then in 2017 the CBL as well, and obviously all the titles in SA, Club Champs, BNL. But I think one thing always was the doubters, because I was new into the sport, and even at the time when I first, when I was in high school, this is 2007, 2010, bigs didn't shoot like that. There was very minimal bigs in the NBA that shot. Power forwards were shooting mid-range jump shots, guys like Kevin Garnett. The only four men that really shot threes was Dirk. And so I got a lot of hate, hey, you're 6'10", you should be playing in the post. And my coach at that time was like, hey, no, he's different. And then, now we look at the game and, even at that point, when I started my pro career, bigs just were shooting. You got guys in the NBA, fours and fives all shooting threes. So, the hate fueled me. And then once I got to the point where I know I could potentially play pro, it's the idea of playing a sport and being a professional athlete sounds much better to me than sitting in an office. I had a job offer coming out of Marist to go work in New York City. And it's just, I'd much rather be on a basketball court.
Oh, yeah. And just on that aspect of becoming a pro, was it internally, when you saw that you were doing well, you were able to, do the things that are required of you, as a power forward, being able to shoot the ball well, being able to play inside the paint, and also defend well? Yeah,
those things, my versatility really then, at a younger age, it was, scrutinized a little bit, but as I got older, it was very much accepted and appreciated because, being able to guard 3, 4, 5 when I was younger, and, just being able to stretch the floor and doing things that, separate you. Not everybody is 6'10" that can handle the ball a little bit, create their own shot, shoot the three at a high percentage, and I think, yeah, that's my versatility and the things that I bring on the court has very much helped me prolong my career to the point where I'm at right now, because, I've seen the bigs of my time when I was in university that didn't shoot, and how it started, impacting them. Unless you're that elite at rebounding, blocking shots, and finishing around the rim, some of them, it held some guys back in their career. So the versatility definitely was a big key in the success that I've had.
And you are currently, yes, you are a pro here, and you are playing here at home here in South Africa. How have you experienced playing basketball and, being an inspiration to many young people that, where basketball, in South Africa, basketball is not a thing?
It's nice, because when I first got here in 2021, when the whole Cape Town Tigers adventure first started, there was nobody recognized us. It's not nearly as big as some of the other countries. There's other countries where I play at, and you go to the mall, you get swarmed. You're taking 50 to 100 pictures. But I've noticed the growth here in SA. The social media, the people, following, and always commenting. But even just going around, certain places, popping around in Santon City, and somebody asking for a photo, and like, oh hey, like you play, BAL. I saw you on TV. It's a satisfying experience knowing that I came back, and my mission, and one of the big things that I said, like, when I come back, let's try and make this work for the future generations, because there's talent here. I mean, the athletes, we got them in South Africa, we know that, everybody knows that, but I think if we have the proper basketball infrastructure, we could be one of the powerhouses on the continent. So for me, being able to come home and play in front of our crowd, now we're going to be playing here in Pretoria, and then, just being able to help the next generation, guys asking for advice, and as a 34-year-old, I have 22-year-olds on the team that's asking me, for tips, and hey, like, how did you do this? It's very much a satisfying experience knowing that I'm able to do something to help the next, group of players that's coming out of our country.
Yeah, and on the subject of Pretoria, when I first interviewed you, I think you were still somewhere in Latin America. You spoke about being from Pretoria, being born in Pretoria West. How does it feel to, have this moment where you are playing in the BAL in your birth city?
That's nice. Like, I never grew up in Pretoria like that. First houses that I remember was always towards the east end of Joburg side, Edenvale, Benoni, and all that. But, knowing that I was born in Pretoria, that my parents lived here during that time, still have family in Pretoria, that, some of the family I'm still close with. It's something that I would have never thought if I would have thought about basketball some years ago, that, hey, like, you're going to be playing on a BAL type stage. It's not just some regular tournament. The BAL, the league run by the NBA, is in South Africa, and you're going to be playing in the city where you're born. I would have told you that you're lying to me. Like, you're trying to mess with me, because it wouldn't have seemed possible 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, when I first, my first couple years over the water, I would have never thought that I'd be doing this. Being able to play in Pretoria where I was born. It's something that it means a lot, because, representing not only for your city, but I feel like Giants, we're kind of putting the whole country on our back. Our situation with the national team has been ideal due to our federation issues, and I think Giants at this point is kind of the face that we need for South African basketball.
All right. And as a guy, when you were in South Africa, you played rugby and cricket, and then transition into the United States, you take on basketball. What has some of your family's reaction been to you seeing that you could create a career out of this when they see?
Yeah, I mean, some people that were very close to me here, now they've started loving the sport because they didn't watch basketball before, and now they watch it and they love it, and they're very into it, just because of me. But also, them just telling me that, hey, we thought you were going to be a sports kid because you were rugby and cricket obsessed when you were here, so it doesn't surprise them that I ended up making a professional career out of basketball, that being an athlete. I was, Gauteng colors in cricket my last year, before leaving here. So I think the sports journey was always there, so they always saw that. They just, nobody would ever thought from Afrikaans family playing basketball and, doing it for 12 years overseas. I don't think anybody could have imagined that, not myself included. So,
all right. And you are part of the Giants now. You've been with them from when they started, and going with them winning the National Club Championship and winning the road to BAL with majority South African players. How much of what does it mean to you? What did that moment mean to you? Because you've won with the Tigers. We knew they had some of the best players we've seen coming from America and players from Africa.
I think the fact that we're like homebred, we're homegrown. It's all South African guys. You know, there's a good amount of us that had the opportunity to play in the States. You know, I moved there when I was 12. You know, Josh Ozawar, he played Division 1 at Bryant. Aviwe played Division 2 at NAI, I believe. So we have guys that got the American experience and that, part of the game. But we're all South African. And I think that means so much to what's building a culture around the sport. With Cape Town Tigers, it was, sure, we play well, but the foundation of the team was formed.
Yeah.
I'm the one guy as a South African on the court that's trying to keep it all together, and Cape Town Tigers, on paper, you put down the names on paper, you could think, hey, they should win BAL. But chemistry is a big thing, and just a team fitting together, being a cohesive unit is different. And the fact that we're all South African, like we're all humble, we come from here, I think guys have something to prove. They have a chip on their shoulder. They want to show, like, hey, look, we can do this. The teams that have won BAL have always had a solid base of their local players. Libya last year that won it, they had good Libyan players. Even though they brought in the supplementary pieces with their imports, Petro, always good local play. Monastir, who's the team from Egypt that won it?
Is this Al Ahly?
Al Ahly,
and Zamalek.
The teams that win BAL, yes, they have good foreign talent that they bring in, but they have that homegrown talent as well that really plays at a high level. And you can tell those guys play together because they've been together for a time.
Yeah.
You can't build chemistry in a week or two, or a 4-week training camp. And I think that's something that really is a difference, and people are going to see it here in Pretoria because just how we play together and how everybody's playing for each other, it's something that actually means a lot more than just going out there with a team that's actually just a bunch of foreign guys.
All right. And I'd like to take you back to Kenya last year in the Elite 16, the semi-finals. You playing against Dar City, a star-studded team, your former teammate Raphael Putney, Nizre Zuzua, Solo Diabate from Cote d'Ivoire, Deng Deng from South Sudan. Who am I missing? Ndoye from Senegal.
Yeah, played against him in 2017 as well when he played for the Senegalese national team.
And that it's 2 seconds in the game. The score is 69-71. You are coming out of a timeout. Dar City have the ball possession. They're gonna inbound. And can you just take us to that moment? What's going on? And
we almost shot ourselves in the foot because coming out of the timeout, there's 2-3 seconds left, and coach said switch everything.
Yeah.
And so it happened to be that Ndoye set the screen on the guy that Nino was marking, and I went because it switched everything, and Nino didn't. And then next second, it became a scramble, and somehow Nati came out of left wing all the way over there and just miraculous block. We almost threw it away, where if he would have made, the basket go to overtime. But it was actually pretty hard to think about afterwards that we almost blew this because a lack of doing what we spoke about in the timeout. So now we obviously can laugh about it now. We ended up winning the game, but if that would have cost us the game to go into overtime and then potentially lose. Now you're looking at one mistake, because of lack of communication. But Nati made spectacular play. I was scrambling back because I saw Ndoye open, and when that buzzer blew, and I'm like, okay, we got the W. This feels good. But it was hectic because we actually messed up the coverage.
All right. Yeah, before we go further into the BAL, now that you've qualified, I'd like to go to your time in Latin America, especially the BCL Americas. Yeah, man, how did you experience that level of competition, that continental competition, playing in Chile for Universidad de Concepción?
Champions League is it's a different level. Obviously it's what the BAL is, pretty much is the best teams. The best teams from the region. However, when you have the Champions League Americas, obviously it's a bigger. You have teams all the way from Mexico through Puerto Rico. You have multiple Brazilian teams, multiple Argentinian teams. You know, your Uruguayan teams. That for me was, I think, a point where I saw that the level has now become different.
Yeah.
Because obviously before that, it was I played in Chile for another team. And every time when I played against Universidad de Concepcion, I torched them. Their coach hated me. And then reached out to me afterwards, was like, hey, look, we want you to come play Champions League for us, you know, because you killed us.
Yeah.
And that was helping a team from Chile for the first time win a game in Basketball Champions League Americas was great. We played against Sao Paulo, Brazil, who had, I think, 2 or 3 guys that played for a Brazilian national team. Lucas Mariano, who is a exceptional 6'11", 120-pound power forward. 120 key power forward, like, the Brazilian national team is something to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And ended up beating them, got MVP of the game, I think 25-12. And at that moment it was like, okay, well, if I can do this in Champions League, I can do this wherever. Whatever opportunity, I can match up with whoever it is. But yeah, the Champions League experience was amazing for me as a stepping stone in my career, just to say, like, okay, in 2015 I started off in this league at this level for this amount of money. And now I'm here helping a team in Champions League win their first game ever in this tournament, and a MVP performance against guys that have played on the biggest stages, guys that have played in the World Cup, and have played at the Olympics. Obviously I had a great performance in 2021 in Champions League, and then in 2024 they decided to bring me back once again to play with them. Chile was I think a door that very much helped my career. Because the season that I had when I first went there after Spain I had a very good season. I was averaging 21 and 12 until about halfway through the season, and then I almost broke my wrist. Numbers ended up dropping to about 17 and 9 by the end of the season, especially because my first couple games coming back from the wrist injury, I was very limited. But that opened up the Champions League door, and just then performing at that level. But it was that moment where you see it, like, hey, all the work I've been putting in, I can compete with whoever it is. Like, we're playing here, and they can't stop me. So,
all right. And can you just talk about that level of professionalism? What was it like? Now you're playing against teams that you've mentioned, also the Boca Juniors, the Flamengos, the Nacionals of Uruguay.
Nacional, I think. We played Quimsa. That for Quimsa and Sao Paulo was in our group. And my other year it was Obras and Ceci Franca.
Yeah.
Ceci Franca, when we played them, had a bunch of guys. They had Lucas Diaz, who plays for the Brazilian national team. They had the Thompson brothers, and American imports that have been with them for 5-6 years. So it plays a cohesive unit. But the level of basketball is just execution, crispness, how fast they play, especially the Argentinian teams. They get up and down. They're trying to get as many possessions out of the game as possible, and it's a speed that you're fine with it, but it's strange to see how, like, in certain leagues it's a slower pace.
Yeah.
And then that was just it's up and down. It's like this, but the talent level is insane. You're talking about the best teams from a continent. Same way kind of BAL. Yeah. And we saw, we've seen what happens when the BAL winner runs into the Champions League Americas winner when they play in the Intercontinental Cup.
Yeah.
It's tough. So, when you have the best guys in the world really outside of the NBA playing, because some of these guys that are playing in these leagues, they could potentially go to the NBA, but they want to stay home.
Yeah. So. And for yourself, playing in Latin America, getting used to cultures of countries and picking up a language, Spanish, what was that like for you? So, but you did say you played in Spain before, but was it in Latin America that got to grips with the language? Yeah,
my Spanish is very Central America, Latin America based. Spain speaks a very formal Spanish.
Yeah.
And Latin America is much more relaxed. Even people, when they hear me speak, they're like, they can tell I learned my Spanish in Central America. So very much the first countries that I played in, El Salvador, Nicaragua, when I was in Venezuela in 2017, a lot of my early contracts was in Latin American countries. And I think that really, it was nice because I immersed myself in the culture, and I realized how really close they are to South Africans.
Yeah.
You know, just the way of accepting and how you don't have to have everything in the world, but you can be happy and be inviting. You know, the way they're just. Hey, the way we here when somebody braais and you know we say the braais at 3, you show up at 5. The charcoal is just starting to get going. They're throwing the meat on at 7. Same way over there with the carne asada, like you know. And at 3 a.m. the wives are asking, "Hey, can we go home? The kids are tired." Right? You know, it very much. It's just a different language, but the culture for me in many places, I saw the people how they are, and it reminded me of South Africa. It made me feel more at home. You know, compared to my upbringing in the States, people are so stuck up and people are so focused on the next. You know, my neighbor has more money than me. My neighbor has a better car than me. It's not always fun living in a life where you're just envious of the next. And you know, the cultures in Latin America, I love it. Love the food, good weather, and yeah. But it really helped shape because you know I was able to learn the language. You know, be fluent, and it helped me a lot throughout my career. You know, getting stuck in airports sometimes, or just with teams. There's teams that at certain points have just given me an extra couple bucks because I'm the team translator. You know, I'm sitting in the huddle, I'm translating for the imports.
Yeah.
You know, doing that. And very much it helps when you're moving around locally.
Yeah.
They can tell foreigners, so sometimes you know you try to get exposed. They want to charge you triple what they would charge for a local for some drink or for some food, and then you just you know come back in Spanish and you're like, hey man, don't play me for a fool.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, you speak Spanish? You're not. I'm like, yes. So you know you're not going to take me for a fool and you know upcharge me because you think I'm foreign. So, but no, the Latin American journey, it made me appreciate because I didn't start in the highest leagues.
Yeah.
I started off in lower leagues and just worked my way up. You know, each contract just doing what I got to do to make sure I get out. And you know, I remember some guys from the earlier leagues that I played on. You know, they play solid, but they don't do enough to get out, and then they get stuck in those leagues. And by the time you're 30, you're still playing in a low-level league, and it's like, hey, my man, at this time, I think it's better to start focusing on something else. You know, if you haven't moved up to the places where you really want to be.
All right, and then of course after that journey, you come to South Africa, the Cape Town Tigers experience. Yeah, as quickly as they came into the South African scene, they disappeared as well. In your opinion, what went wrong? Because there was a lot of quick success, but you know, not proper investment in making sure that they still remain on the basketball scene.
I mean, I'm not afraid to speak about it. I was the person in 2024 that came to watch here in Pretoria and didn't play. Corruption. Some people within the high office was, you know, taking advantage of what's in front of them, and with money that went missing, it eventually folded. When an investor asks, where's our money going to, and it shows that money's been disappearing and things are not happening the way they're supposed to pay. You know, money's coming in from investors, but players aren't getting their pay and all that. Yeah, it's a recipe for disaster. And, you know, unfortunately, it's the greed and corruption that happens, you know, anywhere in the world. There's always going to be opportunities for that, and sometimes you just have the wrong people around the situation. It's not everybody in the organization. I'm still very close with some of the ownership group of Cape Town Tigers that are actually really good people. But there's some people that just ruined it. I don't need to say names. People in most cases know who it is and what they did. You know, it's sad to see because there's a base project. Cape Town Tigers, you know, there was so much invested into it. And when it was running right before it got run to the ground, we could have done something big.
Yeah.
You know, we had our local guy. You know, we focused a lot on imports, but you know, the South African guys were getting better. It was putting them in a position to improve every day because now we're doing 2-a-day sessions for 7-8 months out of the year. You're training. You're playing basketball full time. You know, most guys in South Africa our basketball national league, you know, you can't call that a professional league. That's guys are doing that part-time. You know, professional players need to be playing basketball 24/7, and you need to be able to support your family and your life off of that with the salary that you're making. So when that was the first step, you know, obviously now we're at the point with, you know, Giants and, you know, their project, but obviously it was the start, and it could have been something amazing, but unfortunately it got ruined.
So, in your opinion, do you think there was an understanding that, okay, basketball isn't perfect here? Did people who had invested in the Cape Town Tigers, did some of them come with good intentions and, some obviously for their own interests?
Yeah, that's unfortunately, there's a couple people that really care for what it was. Larry Kangas. I don't know if you
Yes,
you know Larry. Larry is the actual founder of all the names and the brand of Cape Town Tigers in South Africa. Holds all that titles. And then some of the other owners around it, BJ McFarland. I'm still very close to him because he played overseas for like 14 years, so he understands what the players go through, and then so now him being on the other side, he understands what needs to be done to make sure players are taken care of, players are happy, things are run the right way. But then yes, you had a few people in there that just they saw a business opportunity to potentially just make money, and so with all the investment money that was coming in, there was a lot. I can speak on what was told. You're talking close to $1 million that was just missing. If you looked at money that was unaccounted for, there was 1.5 million unaccounted for, and the owners that actually know it, that are doing the right thing, they were saying that at most 750,000 out of that can be used. So at most, so you're looking at least 750,000 USD that was missing. That people invested because they are expecting the results of, hey, we're given hundreds of thousands of dollars for this project. We want this team to win.
Yeah.
And then what happens is there's stories of players not getting paid, and now they start asking questions like, hey, where is the money going to? Because, all this money's going in, but if guys aren't getting paid, something's wrong. I don't know, it's sad to see that some people came in with the wrong mindset, just, trying to turn it into a just money-making scheme where they schemed out of everybody else and just abused on other people, because what it could have been is that doesn't happen, and nobody's in it for greed. You're probably talking about Cape Town Tigers still being a team right now, and with the money that was behind it, being able to build a project that's proper. You could have been seeing a team that's 4 or 5 straight years in BAL. So it's an interesting thing to see, that knowing that a couple people within a group can really destroy everything. I mean, we see that all over the world with governments and businesses and groups. You see that a couple people within something can destroy it all. It's like mold. It's a cancer. It touches you and it's going to affect everybody. It's a trickle effect. And when things are done the right way at the top, it's always going to come back to the people at the bottom.
All right. And now, can I ask this question? Were you also one of those players who are owed money?
I'm not owed money currently.
Yeah.
But when I came in 2024, when I came to watch here in Pretoria and I didn't play, I was. And I sat there and I remember I spoke to you.
Yeah.
And there was other people that came up, Leonard Solms from, ESPN Africa came up to me and they're like, and then when Frank from NBA Africa and Joakim Noah and Jan Mahimi are like, big fella, why aren't you playing? Because, the 2 years before that I'm playing, and straight up told him, because those people owe me money. That guy right there owes me money. I'm not playing for somebody that owes me money. And eventually debts got solved from the owners that actually care, because they care about reputation and respect of what was done. So the owners that actually were doing things the right way and weren't part of the corruption and problem, they eventually tracked back everything and found out so many situations of players and other operations, drivers, accommodation places, and things that were not paid, money that was supposed to be paid, but money that disappeared. So yeah, I felt at that point in 2024 that somebody has to stand up. And if it's the captain of a team that's going to stand up and say, like, something's wrong, you owe us money. It's sad to see the Cape Town Tigers fumbled, and there was owners with it that was trying to save it. But I think the cancer was just too big for them to bring it back after everything that happened, unfortunately.
All right, and then just going to NBB and fast forward to their BAL campaign, it wasn't successful. And I remember you spoke on the big tip-off as well, critical of the state of basketball in the country. Like, looking back at it, looking at the current situation, what do you feel, needs to improve? Obviously, you've played in a country like Rwanda, playing for REG. What are they getting right, and what could we do here in South Africa that they are doing in Rwanda?
Make basketball a priority starting at a young age. You have the infrastructure South Africa right now, our schools are reintroducing it at a heavy rate. I mean, I can't remember the exact numbers, but if I'm not mistaken, from about 2017, 2018 to now 2026, basketball went from being 11th, 12th sport in terms of popularity in this country to 5th, if I'm not wrong. The only 4 sports that are more big than basketball, if you're talking numbers of people playing it in this country, is rugby, cricket, soccer, and track and field.
Yeah.
You know, those are 4 major sports that we compete at world. I mean, we have amazing track and field athletes that's won Olympic medals. You know, we're always great with that. The Springboks are immaculate. We know that. Our Bafana is at the moment, you know, playing out of their mind. They're absolutely killing it. And in cricket, you know, we lost in the semis of the T20 World Cup. But we're a powerhouse in most essences of the sports that we have. Basketball, I think we can become that, but the infrastructure has to start from youth. When you look at European situations, like when I played in Spain, like Barcelona and Madrid, they have their under 9s, under 11s, under 13s, under 15s, under 17. It was all within one program.
Yeah.
So these kids are developing from a young age and properly. I think coaching is something that lacks in this country because of us not having the proper exposure. Because our federation, in all honesty, I can say it right here, they don't care about basketball. They care about themselves and their image. And that's why there's an intervention right now in this country where they're literally trying to get something sorted, because they understand for BAL, the Basketball Federation in South Africa needs to function properly, and we need to have a pro league. Rwanda runs a 6-month pro league. They run from Jan to July. For those 6 months, guys are professionals.
Yeah.
They're playing basketball. Some guys might have a day job, yes. But guys are professional. And you see it countries like in Africa, if you're going to look at Rwanda, Angola, Egypt, Morocco, these countries that have proper run leagues, it's 6 to 9 months. So guys are playing basketball damn near all year round. When you're playing basketball all year round, you create proper athletes. You can't expect South African guys to be good with a BNL league that runs for 3 months. You play 5 games in 3 months. They pay you an absolute joke of what they can do because of just, you know, it's not set up right, or the people don't care. But I think that as a nation, like as the basketball people in this country, just need to look at what's being done in other. Just look at Africa, like, you know, even Mozambique has a successful league that runs properly and their structure. Their guys are playing year round because when it's not the league where they allow imports, they have their local leagues. They're still paying guys. You know, if we can get a league in South Africa that runs from October till April, you have guys playing for 6 months. And then, you know, maybe, okay, that league has 2 or 3 imports per team, but then you also have the league that no imports because we're developing our talent. So guys are year-round playing the sport. A lot of countries I see that. It's, you know, it's year-round. Even some countries that I've played in, you know, like El Salvador, they run twice a year. Their league is only 4 months, like 3.5, 4 months, depending on the playoffs. But they call it Apertura, opening, and the other one is
the Clausura.
it's the Clausura, the closing. So they have a season from Feb to May, early June, and then they have another season from September to early December. And it allows the guys are playing here. Like, you can't be good at something if you're doing it part time. Like, you're an amazing reporter and an amazing journalist because you're invested in it full time. Me, luckily, my career has taken me to where in most days I get up in the morning. I have skill work for about 2 hours in the morning, usually like a 9:30 to 11:30 or like a 10 to 12. Right now with Giants, we're doing 10 to 12 in the morning at Mandeville, skill work. I go home, I eat, I relax for a little bit. I go to Gold's Gym to get my lift and my strength training in. That's another hour and a half, 2 hours that I'm in there. I go home, I eat, I relax for a little bit, and I go to team practice in the evening from 6 to 8. It's a full day of basketball and training, and that's allowed me to be the athlete that I am today. Most countries that I played in where the situations are good, the teams are good, you're training basketball twice a day, and you're lifting 4 to 6 days out of the week, you're strength training because you got to maintain your body throughout the season. So once South Africa gets to that point where we get a fix on our league, we get a fix on our federation, and they actually just care about the infrastructure and not care about their own pockets and their own image, I think then we'll actually have the opportunity to be one of the best countries. Like, we have the talent, don't get me wrong. I mean, look at guys, you have Chile is playing in Japan still, and he doesn't want to come home. He's living over there. He's playing in a Japanese league and playing at a high level. Samkelo, Brian, just went to Israel, second division. Unfortunately, their season got cut because of this war, but he played in the G League. You have guys like Osai, who's playing for the G League Spurs right now. Myself, as a 12-year vet, David Craig just now played his first season in Germany. Josh Osbar is going to go play somewhere. Nino Dim is going to go play somewhere. Aviwe is probably going to. So we have so much talent that if we just had the people to put this together, there's no reason why we shouldn't be at Afrobasket every Afrobasket.
Yeah.
There's no reason why we shouldn't be World Cup qualifiers and trying to get into Basketball World Cup, because I honestly believe that if things get fixed, we can be one of those top 4 powerhouses, the Angola, the Tunisia, the Senegal, the Nigeria. We have the people here, we have the players, and we see it now. I mean, there's so many kids playing Division 1, Division 2 in America. So, I hope maybe before I retire, it gets fixed. I got a couple years left in my legs. I'm 34, and I've committed myself at this point to, getting in better shape than I've ever been, so I can prolong my career. Changing certain things as you get older. You change your diet, you change your habits, you change certain things just to make sure you take care of your body. But hopefully, with what's going on in the intervention right now, hopefully they can start getting things fixed. Because I think honestly, it would be amazing for our country, because we have the base of players, and we also have just the love of sports in this country. And when people really start getting exposed to basketball more and more, it's just going to keep blowing up.
And as a veteran player, obviously you are leading a very young team. What advice do you share with these guys, especially within the South African context?
So for guys, especially like when we play, when we're in Kenya, when we're in Zambia, they're talented. Guys with a lot of talent, and sometimes talent tries to do a little too much. So that's those moments where you just reel somebody like, hey, don't force it. It'll come to you. You don't have to force this play. It's going to come to you, watch. But just trying to keep guys, and I remember when we played Beta in Zambia, one of their American guards was just making tough shots.
Yeah.
He's making tough shots, and just telling Aviwe, like, yo, tough pro players make tough shots, but don't let that discourage you from playing good defense, because you're gonna, if you play defense every possession, there's gonna be those that he misses. It's because you made him miss. But just tell him to be calm, stay under control, and don't get out of character. A lot of times something happens when you try to do too much on the court. You try to go out of what you're actually very good at. And I think that hurts players sometimes, where, going out of your, let's say, bubble style. Myself, I know what I do good, I know what I don't necessarily do the greatest. And, I'm trying to play to my strengths. But, it's keeping them grounded and just pushing them, because I know they actually have the talent to go play overseas and make some money, and have a career. So, getting them in the gym and then talking to them more. I'm raised in a different time where I got yelled at.
Yeah.
Coaches cussed me out and yelled, because that's the culture that was. And seeing that, some years ago that was fine, but some guys don't respond the same way. Just talking to them, but making sure that they know, hey, you're doing things the right way, like you're good. And just encouraging guys certain moments, because when they first start doing things, they don't realize like they have this ability, and then push them to make more. With our morning workouts, especially in our skill work, I see how guys are improving, and just tell them like, hey, like add a little bit to your game every single day. Add this, read up on this, the awareness on this. Some of the guys ask me for advice, but it's just some of the younger guys just making sure that they know, like, hey, like you're gonna miss a shot or two, like, hey, make the next one, like, hey, we got faith and we're gonna come back right to you, hey, if you're not, shots not falling today, go get a rebound, go do this, have other ways of impacting the game, because then you'll stay on the court. Scoring isn't everything, and you can make a career out of this, not just necessarily by scoring. There's guys that get paid a lot of money just to go rebound and play defense. So,
all right. Yeah, man. And just back to the BAL now, Giants home club. You are in the Kalahari conference against Petro de Luanda Giants of Africa, or one of the Giants of Africa. Al Ahly finalists, Al Ahly Libya, that's and then there's Nairobi City Thunder, Dar City, there's a reunion,
Tigers from
Rwanda, man.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this conference that you're in?
Look, we're playing in front of our home crowd. I think it's a huge advantage. We saw with Elite 16 what it meant for Kenya playing in front of their home crowd. There's always a little home cooking. But the energy that you feed off of, it's that game that we were playing against NCT, when you're playing it in Kenya and they make a shot and it's just, you got 5,000 people going crazy. Hopefully we have a sold out house here at Sunbet every time we play. That energy is different. And as an opposing team coming into an environment like that is tough. As an away team, the best sound when you go play is a quiet arena.
Yeah.
If a home team their fans are quiet, that's great. But I think for us, the competition is going to be tough regardless. I think certain teams that are coming down here are more import-based because their local talent isn't necessarily as good. And then you have some teams like Pieter Prinsloo that's, they don't really need the imports like that. Their local players are incredible players. You guys got like Gaku and, Chil Dungdao. Yannick Moreira, like these guys really play at a high level. They can go play outside of Angola, and they've played in Portugal and Europe. They've done that, but they get paid good money to stay home. I honestly think that we play our game, we do what we got to do. We'll be in Rwanda. We'll be in Rwanda and we'll compete to try and bring this title home. It's gonna be tough, but I mean there's no more easy games in BAL. If I think about 2-3 years ago, maybe there was a weak team or 2 weak teams that you kind of like, okay, they're not the greatest. The way things are at the moment, I mean, if you're looking at NCT, Dar City, Pieter Prinsloo, got Ahli Benghazi from Libya, and you have Tigers, which is pretty much going to be an APR refunded team. That half their guys are just going to go. And you look at the other side. It's Egypt, Senegal, Tunisia, Morocco, Ivory Coast, and
what else? Senegal.
Yeah, Senegal, Nigeria.
Yeah, and Nigeria.
Yeah. Like there's no more weak teams. And I mean, obviously that's what the BL wants to become. It's they want to have these franchises and it be the Euro League of Africa. Pretty much the same essence of how big things are. So I think it'll be great as well for the people to see just the talent level that's coming here. So for fans to actually going to come out and watch basketball the first time, compared to going to some local league game here, coming to a BAL game and you see these type of athletes, the way guys are making shots, the way guys, the athleticism that's on display. I think it's great. But honestly, I think as a team, we have what's needed. We play together as a cohesive unit. We very much play defense, intense. Flush very much is a coach that enforces that. We have freedom on offense. Within reason, if you go crazy and lose your mind, he's going to reel you back in. But he gives us our freedom on offense as long as we put in an effort on the defensive side and we're actually doing the things on that side of the ball. So I think with the talent that we have a couple guys coming in tomorrow. We have 2 Americans. We have a South African, Australian kid coming in as well. You might be familiar with him, Caleb.
Caleb.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Caleb is playing in 2nd Division Australia right now, and he's his team captain. He's gonna be a big help at the point guard position. We got 2 American guys coming in, and then they're I think potentially looking at a 4-5. I understand the role that I'm gonna have to play as well. There's a big reason why I've locked in over the last 2 months and really get into the shape that I used to be in 5 years ago when I was 28. 28, 29 years old, the way I was jumping, running back in Spain when I played the 3. I think if I'm at my peak and with all the talent that we have around us, there's no chance that we're not in Rwanda playing the playoffs.
All right. What excites you about this team as well? Like, apart from it being all South African team that had qualified for the BAL. Obviously, there are new additions coming along that have to adapt quickly into the team.
So the new players. It's hopefully they can adapt quickly. Hopefully, it's not a rough transition. We don't have that much time with them. But we have some athleticism on this team that guys aren't aware about. I mean, between Josh and Nino, some of the plays that the dunks and things like that give a team so much energy. A guy comes through the lane and dunks on somebody, your whole team just lifts. Your energy on defense and just everything just amplifies. So with our team, I'm excited to see how some of the guys are going to respond under the BAL lights. I think these guys aren't the type to shrink. We saw it in Zambia and we saw it in Kenya. Like they're not afraid of the bright lights, and I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at actually how good we are as a unit and how good of a team we actually are. You know, a lot of people aren't going to necessarily, you know, respect us as much because we don't have the foreign names, you know, that some of these teams do. That's these big signings, the ex-NBA guys, the G League guys. But I honestly can't wait for us to get on that court so that people can just see what we are, because I think a lot of people are going to be completely shocked, and some teams are going to get a rough awakening when they're punched in the mouth first, and next thing they look and they're playing in our arena and they're down 15, 20 points, and now they got to try and figure something out, because we got athleticism, we got shooting, we got some size with David, you know, and we got versatility. We have guys that can do everything, and I'm really excited to see how this is going to play out for us.
Right. And what are you mostly grateful for in your career so far?
Being injury-free for the most part. Like this is year 12. I have never missed any significant time with injuries. I mean, with Cape Town Tigers, I missed a month before that first club champs where we played at Randburg.
Yeah.
And I ended up cramping in the fourth game because for a whole month I was out with a hernia surgery. I pretty much practiced for 2 days before that, where I was actually, you know, cleared. Because I had the hernia surgery about 5 weeks before we played club champs. I had my hernia surgery. But other than that, you know, I was lucky when I had a grade 2 ankle with, you know, partially torn ligaments, and it hit right as the pandemic hit. Yeah. So I was lucky. I can honestly say I'm grateful and appreciative that I've gone through my career without any significant major injuries that's really impacted me, because I see so many guys that have so much talent, and their bodies just break down on them. Like, you know, if you want, you can go to the examples in the NBA, guys like Derrick Rose and Penny Hardaway and T-Mac and all them. But it's really a blessing to think about, like, 12 years in, you know, I'm 34 years old, and I've never missed any major time because of injuries. My body's, you know, held up and been solid. So, you know, I can only thank the Lord for that as well. You know, He's protected me and put His hand over me and guided me. But it's nice because you see so many guys that get, you know, they miss so much time and get derailed. And, you know, just knowing that I've been blessed with, you know, good health throughout my career, it's nice. Because, you know, not everybody has it.
All right. Before I let you go, you've played quite a lot on the African continent. Can you give me your top 5 all-time great African players that you have
played against
or seen? Yeah.
Played against or seen. So I'll give him credit. I mean, me and him we're friendly off the court. So, but Carlos Morais he's got to be in there. You know, obviously there's some guys that I'll probably miss just because I never played against them and never saw them.
Yeah.
But so that's one. Carlos Morais has to be in there. The guy that plays currently he played for Al Ahly Libya last year. He's
the point guard?
No, he plays like the 3. That at like 6'4", 6'5", was averaging a double-double in rebounds.
He played in the championship. Caleb Agada? No,
not Caleb. I'll get him for you.
All right.
I'll get him because that guy just does everything so well. You know, him, I'll put him in there. He's a Swiss Army knife. He does everything. Struggling to find his name, but I know he re-signed. We'll be seeing him next week in BAL because he's obviously going to be here. Otherwise, who I played against, Gorgie.
Yeah.
NBA guy. That was a great game playing against him. Much respect to him, and then very friendly afterwards after the game off the court as well. Him, best point guard in history for me, really. Hey, he's got all the accolades. He's old now. He's solo. You got to put solo in there. I mean, if you got a team with Solo, you got a team with Carlos. You know, Carlos. You got Gorgie at the 4. What is my man that plays for Libya? I gotta find him. Yeah, he's messing with me right now. The BAL should have posted it last year and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about once I mention him. Here's the last year's victory photos.
Is he not the Cape Verde guy?
No. He's just Libyan. He plays for Libya. He plays for the national team too. I believe.
Badrouche. Nassim Badrouche?
No, not Badrouche. The other one. So Badrouche is the point guard that plays. He plays well, but
Was he the team captain?
I think so. Yeah.
Sadi Muhammad Sadi?
That guy plays so hard and just does everything. At the end of the day, 14 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, a block, and he's just like, this guy was everywhere.
Yeah.
So, that a motor, like, you can't teach motor, you can't teach that toughness, just grit. He has that it's things you can't teach somebody that he has to his game.
Yeah.
So you got him at the 3, you got Carlos at the 2, Solo at the 1, Gorgie at the 4, and then center. I played against him in. If I gotta go think, it was the 5 that played. 1 was Zamalek. Athletic 5 man that played at Louisville. Mahmoud Anas.
Anas Mahmoud. Yeah.
If I'm not gonna include myself in anything, you asked me for a top 5 list of just guys that. Because of how I respect them and how I've seen them play. If you're talking about a rim protector and versatile too, I mean, they run him at the top of a press, of a 1-2-2 full court press. They run him at the top. He can bring it up and he can make open shots. He can do it. So I think a team like that with Anas Mahmoud at the 5, Gorgie at the 4, Mohamed Sedi at the 3, Carlos at the 2, and Solo at the 1. And there's not much you can do with that team. Now I'll come off the bench as 6 man.
All right. Yeah, Pieter Prinsloo, thank you very much for your time, man. I appreciate it, and all the best with the Giants at the VAL. May you fly the South African flag high.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me today. It's always an honor.
Pleasure.
All right.
Cool.